we looked at how we evaluate our human resources, and we looked at different models that we can use to evaluate and see what's the value of our human assets. So now today we want to look at how we measure a human resource contribution. And this human resource contribution, we measure them according to a number of things that there are a number of factors that we look at. There are a number of factors that we look at. For instance, you'll most likely see that employees of a particular organization, they'll more or less behave the same way. You find that employee of a particular organization, they talk the same way. The way, okay, if you go to a particular organization, you find if the employees attend to you with high speed, then all employees have that high speed. All employees have that high morale. All employees have similar, which we refer to organization culture. That every organization it sets the culture, and once you have set the culture, then for employees to be within that organization, they must emulate that particular culture. So now in that regard, we look at several parameters that you can look and understand how we can measure human resource. For example, we look at the human reputation, HR reputation, that we'll have an organization that will have all the employees with high integrity, that even if he was on the road and he was on the wrong, then if he was on the wrong and he has been arrested, then there are high chances he'll go all through to court and either defend or pay fine or whatever, so that the process finished, then he'll have to come and comply, and so that he is not found on the same parameter. But we'll also have other employees of another organization that they have made it a habit. They know they cannot comply, so even if they go to drive on the road, they must have some 50 shillings, 100 shillings, that even the traffic police have marked them. So even if they are not made a mistake, they can still stop them, and they'll get money from them. So in that case, there's a reputation that human resource can create. So we'll also look at how we conduct, when you conduct human resource audit, that when you conduct those audits, you are also able to evaluate contribution of our human resource. We might appear to be you may get an organization that has very few employees, are understaffed, but now when you conduct an audit, you still find that there's inequalities, that we have few employees, but those few employees cannot serve the organization, or still within those few employees, you'll find there's an area where we have overemployed. We have more employees. Enoch, kindly mute. Enoch, want to say something? Okay. So as we bring that we look at how to conduct a employee audit. Then we'll also, by the end of the course, we'll also have discussed about human resource cost monitoring. Enoch, you have a concern? Okay, thank you for muting.
No, I don't.
Okay, so then mute. So we'll also look at how to monitor the cost of employee, that in a number of organizations, they have to monitor, or they have to control costs. If at all you are working in an organization that awards salary increment on annual basis, then it will reach a point that that organization cannot sustain to have employees who have high experience within the organization. So they are made to resort into relieving those employees who have worked for a long period. Then they get new employees, so that they control those particular costs. Then you also have competitive benchmarking in human resource management, that how do we compare, for example, Safaricom being the biggest player on the market. So how do any other company that come in, they will also like to compare to Safaricom. They would like to do how Safaricom is doing. So in that case, we can go to Safaricom and see how do they treat their employees, that they are able to do business with high integrity. We can go to banks and compare how are banks treating their employees, that those employees have to uphold high integrity when we are living in a society that has low moral. So in that case, we'll be doing a benchmarking. Then we'll also have HR effectiveness index. How do we determine if HR is effective or human resources are effective? So there are various parameters that we do use to measure that we look at. Then we look at human resource management by objective, that we can manage our human resources by objective. What do we want to achieve? So we'll manage our human resources according to what we want to achieve. So if at all we want to get more students, for example, a scheme, then we can send all employees to go out and look for students. So all of them will have to do marketing. So our objective to get more students. Then now once you've brought in the number of students that we feel we need, then now we can segment, and then we'll have those who have to sit there and attend to those students, and the few now can go out to look for other students, so that we also don't record a lot of complaints. Then we'll also look at a HR profit center. And when you talk of HR profit center, you say that as a human resource, then we must also, okay, a human resource as employees, they're the people who are generating revenue to the organization. So we look at how do we evaluate that particular perspective. Then we'll also look at employee net promoter score. And in that case, we'll be concerned about how do we evaluate employee, how they are performing as an individual, as a department. You can go to a particular organization, then you find employees of a particular department are very nice, are very welcoming, but if you go to a different department, you find contrary to what you have seen in the other department. So in that case, you'll be concerned about what makes those employees to be more productive. So that's what we refer as employee net promoter score. Then we'll also look at absenteeism rate. What makes employees not to come to work? At times, employees, when they are absent, it depends on the number of issues. Yes, an employee could have an emergency that has made him not to come. But also, an employee can fail to come to work, not because he had a very big issue that he could not solve, but he is trying to avoid coming to office. So we look at some of those reasons that make employees come to work or fail to come to work. Then we'll also look at the attrition rate. Attrition rate, when you talk of attrition or natural attrition, then that's a way employees join and leave the organization. Today I'm working with the Kenya Institute of Management. Tomorrow I could be going to another institution, or I could be going to another employer. So, and the team will also get someone else and replace, and life goes on. So you'll be looking at those attrition rate. How are employees coming in and also leaving, and how do they affect the organization? When you have some of the key employees leaving the organization is likely to reduce or collapse. If you have key employees remaining, because mostly those employees that are likely to leave are the key employees, that if at all I'm doing my work effectively here at Kim, there are chances that when you go to your office, you will narrate to your colleagues, you will narrate to your friends that you have a teacher somewhere. So there are chances that as you narrate that, somebody will be interested. You probably could be narrating to somebody who is an administrator in a particular college. So you say, I've heard there's a particular lecturer somewhere. So in that case, there are chances that if I was key at Kim, then there are chances that other colleges will also be interested to get my service. So there are chances I'll leave. But if at all there's a lecturer who doesn't frequently come to class and all that, and he doesn't deliver. So mostly, even if you talk, then they also know at Kim there's a problem also somewhere. So you find that those key employees are likely to move very fast to other organization and leave those employees who are not very key in organization. So the attrition has an effect on has an effect on organization performance. Then you'll also look at the salary competitive rates, that the salary we offer, an organization offer, has to be competitive on the market. That if today Kim is paying a certain amount of salary, then they must benchmark with the institution that they want to attract the key resource persons from. So if Kim wanted to attract key resource persons, let's say from University of Nairobi, then they must benchmark and look at what are the salaries that University of Nairobi is paying. Can we do something better than that, so that we can still get some of the employees from University of Nairobi moving to Kenya Institute of Management? So we'll also look at how organization offer those competitive terms or salaries. So let's so for us to understand how to to understand how we'll evaluate the contribution of human resources, we first of all have to look at or have to understand how we deliver or what human resources deliver to the organization. And these are some of the things that a human resource can deliver to the organization. So we'll ask ourselves these questions. What is the impact of human resource activities on cost reduction? That a number of activities that you are undertaking, how are they geared towards reducing the cost? For example, as we are teaching here on online, the somebody who is evaluating, how is it reducing the cost of managing human resource? That let's say give it next 5 or 10 years, mostly colleges will not be having very big premises as they do have now. Okay, it could be because of corona. Yes, technology has been there for a number of years, but most of learning institutions had not appreciated the use of that technology. We were introducing, but the uptake was very low. But now, from where the world is forcing us that the only way we'll survive is through technology. So you'll find that those activities that you are undertaking will be looking at how do they reduce the cost of operating. Now, if at all, let's say like Kim, we are occupying a space, let's say about 5 or 6 floors within the CBD, the rent of that particular place could be very high. So if at all or majority of the students can embrace online and they go online, then Kim will only require, let's say, 1 floor or 2 floor just to take care of a library and to take care of administration and some few activities that require physical presence. Now, but majority of the cost will have been shed off. So even if Kim reduce your fee for students to encourage them to join online and say we'll now, rather than charging 35, we'll charge 30. The semester we are charging 35, we'll charge 30. The one we are charging 35, 30 will charge 25. So in that case, we'll motivate so that those students can get bundles to join the classes, or they can get upgrade and get gadgets that can allow them join the online. Then in that case, the activity that human resource has been involved would have reduced a lot of cost in terms of rental premise. Then number 2, how can human resource be used to enhance productivity? That, remember, we have the 4 factors of production, and these 4 factors of production is land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Now, apparently, of those 4 factors of production, entrepreneurship and labor are all run by human beings. So 2 major factors are run by human beings. So now we'll be looking at how do we improve our productivity, that if we have land and we have capital, we still require human beings to come in. We still require the contribution of human beings for us to improve on our performance. So in that regard, we look at how can human resources enhance our productivity of that particular organization. Then another one, we will ask ourselves, how can human resources lead to better service delivery? That if at all we don't take care of human resources adequately, then we are likely not to have quality service. So for us to have a better service or quality service delivery, then we must also improve on our human resources management. That if we take care of our employees, there's a common saying that if you take care of your employees, then employees will take care of your customers. But if you want to take care of your customers and you don't take care of employees, then employees will in turn frustrate the customers. And it's common in that, let's say if management would like to be close to you as customers for Kenya Institute of Management. They would like to follow up and see how you are doing. But now they don't follow up and they don't take care of the welfare of lecturers. Then in that case, yes, they will follow up. They will come to class and they'll come and promise you, yes, we are making follow up to ensure that a lecturer comes to class. But now that lecturer has not been facilitated to come to class. Then it means we are not going to, they are not going to give you good care. But if they took care of welfare of lecturers, even without necessarily coming to you, still you'll find that the service will be good. So if we take care of our employees, if we take care of human resources, then the human resources is likely to take care of our business or improve our service delivery. Then another one, how can human resource enhance greater employee engagement? That as human resource, we also need to bring together our employees. That today I'm teaching you, but that does not mean I know everything. There are some things that you know that I don't know. There are things that you know that I don't know. Now, if at all and the same scenario happens in employment, that as much as we'll have several employees, those employees will have some expert in different areas, other expert in different areas. So, but we'll not have an employee who is expert in all areas. So now when we bring these employees together, then we enhance cohesion. And other than enhancing cohesion, there could be an idea that I have. When I share with my colleagues, they are likely to add in some input, and then it becomes a great thing. Get it? So now, as human resource, then we'll be looking at it. How do we bring the employees? How do we promote the enhancement? How do we bring the employees together so that they are able to work together with the rest, and then we are also able to improve our productivity. Then the other question we'll ask, how can human resources enhance organization integration? That in any organization, it will have several departments. We have procurement, we have supply chain, we have human resources, we have marketing, we have finance and administration. We have all those departments. Now, those departments, they must be they must integrate into as one, so that because they are working with the same goal. There's only one objective that organization to achieve, as much as it has several departments. So in that case, we will be asking us, what can we do so that we make those human resources, as much as they're working in different departments, that but they should be working towards same parameter, so that the procurement, when you are dealing, let's say in production industry, the procurement, as they procure for raw materials, then they should procure in recognition that the material they are procuring is going to produce items that are on high demand on the market. So that once you have produced, then the marketing department will have it easier to sell those items on the market. But now, if procurement procure mostly some of the items that are not on high demand, then eventually they will also affect the marketing department. So once they affect the marketing department, will also affect finance department, because we are not able to generate adequate revenue to pay our expenses. So in that case, we'll just one department pulling down the whole organization. So we'll be concerned about how do we bring all employees together so that we integrate our organization, so that we grow as a team. That even if I'm working in finance and you're working in marketing, another person working, we are all working towards the same goal. We don't underlook upon another member. Then we'll also have, how can human resources ensure stronger employee proposition? That we will be concerned about how human resources ensure that, for example, if today we went for a meeting and there's an employee from Safaricom who has come late, and there's also another employee from, let's say, Airtel, who has come late. Both employees from Safaricom and Airtel have come at the same time. There's only one seat. Whom do you think will be given the first priority?
Safaricom.
Safaricom. Why do you think Safaricom will be given first priority?
The brand image.
Yes. Now that's what you are referring as a employee proposition. That if at all I work with Kim, and all of a sudden I've gone to bar, I'm drinking, I will fight, tomorrow another employee from Kim is also in bar, they fight, then that's what you are creating. That's the image you are creating. So when that information goes around, then you will know, people will be saying, "Oh, those employees from Kim are very drunkard and they are very violent." That's the proposition we're creating. So now in that case, if at all we create a good image that we are always let's say if you get most employees from Safaricom, most of them will be very humble. Most of them, they talk to you in a nice way. They are not in a hurry and all that. They have created that particular proposition in organization. Get it? So in that case, we value them high. You might find that that employee from Airtel is paid much more than that employee from Safaricom, but now the way they have treated themselves, the way they present themselves, it makes us feel that they are more superior than Airtel. So let's look at the measurement of people and functional performance. Now, when we measure people and functional performance, there are a number of parameters that we do look at. For example, we can use the critical success factor indices. Now, because all of you are aware of Kim and all of you probably are aware of what we need to be delivered, what we will, let's say, lecturers at Kim do, that you'll say that lecturer has delivered whatever he was to deliver? Valerie, what do you think that if lecturers do whatever they are doing, you'll feel they have delivered whatever they were to deliver? Valerie, are you around? Enoch, if you're around?
Yes, I'm around.
So I've asked a question. Can you respond?
Yes, I can respond.
Yeah.
Okay, if lecturers, when we say they are performing their duties, is if the outcome of the students is the performance is high.
Yeah. Yes, if they perform their duties, then the student also perform. Yes. Yvonne?
I wanted to say if the class attendance is good,
Yeah.
Good feedback from the students to the management in case they're asked for feedback.
Yeah.
Their exams, in terms of performing well, average performance,
Yeah.
both in cards and end of exam. Yeah, stuff like that would measure their performance.
Okay. So Lynette?
On their content delivery, how they deliver their content, how they teach, and they're giving examples, how the children, the students are performing after the content, feedback, everything.
Okay, Valerie, are you back? Okay, so we'll skip Valerie. I believe she's not within. So now, we have said some of the parameters that we can look at lecturers, what they have done. So in that case, if at all a lecturer went out there and convinced a number of students to come and join the institution, but now he was going out there to look for students at the expense of those who have enrolled. Instead of me coming to class here, then I give you an excuse, be writing these notes because I have to go to give an address at a particular organization which has a number of students that they would like to bring to Kim. Then we got all those students came in. But now those who came in, I did not attend them to class. Then it means I did not succeed. So we can use those critical success factors that for us to evaluate my success, then as a lecturer, then you are going to look at how do I attend classes? Is it consistent? Do I have to be coerced to attend classes? Do I have to be reminded to attend to those classes? Is it timely? Do I report on time or do I come very late? Now, once I've joined the class, do I attend to class 10, 15 minutes and then I am done? I'm leaving that particular class. Or do you attend the whole session? Get it? Now, after the attendance of class, are you able to learn something from that particular class? And once you have learned from that class, when you do the examination, what is the mean score that we register? What is the average score for that particular class? Is there any room for growth? Are students performing better? What are the feedback are we getting from students? Are we connecting? You get it? Now, those are the things that associate with the lecturer. Even if I've gone out to do marketing or I've not gone out to do marketing, but I've done things that are associated with the key roles that are associated with the lecturer, then I would have achieved. But if I've done other administrative duties and I've left lecturing, then in that case, I will not have succeeded in the in the critical success factor indices. So number 2, we also look at key performance indicators. Now, when you talk of key performance indicators, we are looking at what are the things that will evaluate our employees and see if at all they are performing or they are performing better. So we must identify some of those indicators that will be there. For example, if we still use the example of Kim and we are still using the lecturers and administration, then you'll find that there are some lecturers, when they come to class, a number of students will come in huge numbers, just because those students feel they must listen to those particular lecturers. They'll go there, the student will come because the way the lecturer will conduct that particular class, they feel they can't miss that particular class. So now, those are some of the key indicators that if at all you have 6 lecturers in a same class, okay, for a semester you have 6 lecturers, then if at all we can look at the class attendance, then you find that there are 3 or 4 lecturers that usually record 80 to 90% class attendance. Then there are other lecturers that record 60-40% of class attendance. Now, now, there are indicators, there are reasons why the other lecturers will record that 60%, while others are recording 100%. That the indicators are that you don't value, or even if you miss that particular class, you'd still pass. That if you had an alternative, if you had something else to do, you would rather do the other thing than go to that particular class to listen to the lecturer. But those who are achieving 80 to 90%, then it means that most of the students are giving up on other activities so that they attend that particular class. They're giving that class a first priority. So there's also indicator. So in that case, we can use such scenarios to evaluate and say who amongst these is performing and who is not necessarily performing. Then we can also use number 3, we can use service level reviews. Now, when you talk of service level reviews, then we have some books also refer to it as a service level agreement. That when you join at Kim, the agreement is that you will be trained for a semester of 6 months. Now, for that 6 months, all lecturers have been given a syllabus. Now, as we have been given syllabus, then we have to cover that syllabus within that period of 6 months. If at all I put in much effort and cover that syllabus within 2 months, it doesn't mean that I'm effective, because whoever came up with that syllabus and said it should be covered within the period of 6 months was intelligent, knew what should be done. So as much as I can brush over so that we cover it within a short period of, let's say, 2 months, then you feel I'm effective, but now I will not have given much emphasis where the emphasis should be. So I would have rushed over, in that if we ask you what you have conceptualized from that particular session, you may not respond adequately, because we also didn't give the discussion adequate time. So the person who came up with that particular syllabus had in mind that we can discuss a smaller part, but we give it much emphasis, much discussion, get feedback from you, I get response from you. So as we discuss that way, you also master that particular part. But if I rush over for a short period, we cover syllabus, and then you have not performed as per expectation. Also, if at all I take 6 months and have not covered much of the syllabus, I would also have failed. So for us for me to have succeeded, yes, I could have an allowance that if I cover 5 months or 5 months, 2 weeks, in that case, that's the expected. I've delivered according to the expected service level agreement. So when you review such, then you are able to tell if an employee has succeeded or is performing or not. Just a minute, please. Sorry for that. So I also explained that we can look at those service level agreement, that if at all our employees have delivered as per what we have agreed, if there's a role that they ought to play within a certain duration of time, they have not covered, okay, the ideal scenario is that they should cover at least on the bare minimum 3/4 of the duration that you have allowed. So if I tell you to mop a house, let's say, and I've agreed that house you should mop for 1 hour, if you mop that house for less than 1 hour, and then you might not have met the expectation. Umepita ukapanguza tu, but you have not made it as clean as it ought to be. Then the fourth one, we also look at customer survey.
Excuse me.
Yes.
The service level reviews, is it like you're given a timeline to achieve your objectives?
Yes. You are given assignment, and you're also given at what time should you, let's say if you have to come up with a report, you have been assigned the report to make, and you have been given, let's say, 1 week or 2 days.
Okay.
So within that period, you should have come up with that assignment. So when 2 days elapse and you have not come up with the report, then you have failed. But if also you have given new 2 days, then you come up with the report within 1 hour, then you are communicating something different. Either you have done a short work, or if you have done it adequately, then it means we did not assign you work according to the work we assigned you was not that adequate for the period we assigned you. So I was talking about customer surveys. Now with the customer survey, usually towards the end of every semester, like for the case of Kim, we usually conduct some reviews. So if you are coming, let's say, for physical class now, either this month or next month, you have been given forms to evaluate your lecturers. Now, such a evaluation of lecturers is what you are referring as customer survey. Or still, I know by the end of this semester, you'll be given a link. We'll circulate link so that you fill in, you evaluate. Now you'll be evaluating the service in general for Kenya Institute of Management. So again, that's a customer survey. So we're getting feedback from customers. So when you get those feedback from customers, and there's a negative feedback towards a particular employee, then it means that there's a problem with that particular employee. So there could be a problem with that particular employee, or there could be a problem where that employee has not connected with the customers. So let's say if we are working in an organization to have a debt recovery department, those who are recovering money that has to be paid. If customers have not conceptualized their role, then at most their service or how they will review their service and how they will review customer service or marketing department will be very different. Because you find for marketing department, they will have those sweet, they will be sweet talking, and they have that convincing language. But for debt recovery, you can't come to recover money from me and you want to talk to me nicely. So you must be somehow rough to coerce money to get from me. So another one, we have employee attitude survey. And with the employee attitude survey, in some organizations, they usually conduct a peer review. Now, when you talk of peer review, that if we are working in the same organization, then you can come up with a questionnaire. This questionnaire we give each employee. Then we say each employee to evaluate, but you don't evaluate yourself. So we'll ask who among us is more supportive, who among us is open, who among us gives advice, who among us gives motivation or encourages, then you select as per employee. So you say this employee, this particular colleague is supporting this area, this supporting this area. As you give those scores, then we'll evaluate and we'll evaluate and say this is the, as per colleagues, this is the best employee, or this the worst employee, and that. So we are also able to tell the weaknesses of those employees, then we can advise them to pull up and work towards success. So those surveys can also tell us who among us the employees is most productive or is most active or successful. Then number 6, we have process mapping. And for that one, we have to write it down so that you understand how process mapping is done. Now, for instance, if you come to when you came to Kim as the first day, which desk did you report to first?
Inquiries for the reception.
Yeah.
Inquiries at the reception.
Reception. Then after reception, which desk did you go to next?
I got a front seat.
Yeah.
I got a front seat. I found people had already occupied the middle and the back seats, so I got a front seat.
Okay. Who else? Valerie, you wanted to say something?
Yes. After reception,
yeah,
I went to the desk where we pay fees. Then from there is where I was given the timetable, was told where the class is. Yeah, is when I joined the class now.
Okay. So now this let me take you. Okay, I know most of the at Kim we use open office format. Open office, it means we are not labeling. You can get service from any desk, or as you get service from this desk, you can see what's happening on the other desk. So that's what we refer to open office. But now, sorry. When you come in, you go to reception where you'll make inquiries. I want to join. How can I register? What are the requirements? So at reception, their role will only to give you information. And because so many people are coming in, and some are would like to join, some are just want to get information, so they cannot do more transactions. They can only respond to questions, respond to phone calls. If you are making phone call, they respond to it and all that. That's their duty. So now, once you have inquired and they can also give you a form. You are certified, then they give you a form, you fill in. Once you have filled in the form, you take to admission. And there's a desk specifically that deal with the admission. So you'll be you'll be admitted. Once you have been admitted, then the admission desk will refer you to accounts department so that you pay fees. Once you have paid fees, then the accounts department will now refer you to training department or learning department. Now, with the learning department, they'll give you the timetable. So at times, some of those steps can overlap in that if at all there's no big queue at the receptionist can give you information, and rather than giving you the information, he will also give you the admission number. But now, if there's a lot of students coming in, then the person at reception will only give you information and refer you to admission desk. Now, once you have been given the timetable, then that takes you to the next desk, which is class. In class, you'll meet there several teachers. They'll take you through the semester. They'll train you. After training you, and then they'll take you to next desk, which will be exam. Exam. After exam, you'll need to progress to the next level. So you'll come for progression. Now, from that progression, you'll find that you'll either come to, you can either come directly to admission so that you are progressed to the next level, or you can go directly to accounts, whichever. But you're supposed to go to admission, then the cycle continues until you finish and graduate. Now, once you have done this is like a mapping. We are creating a service mapping. So once you have created this service mapping, then we can evaluate. If at all 10 people, or let's say 20 people, made an inquiry, and these 20 people were referred to admission, and from admission desk, only 13 were admitted. That means you have lost 7. Then after the admission, then those who went to accounts were probably 10. 10 people went to accounts and they have paid. After paying, only 8 went to get the timetable. Now, from that 8, only 6 went to class. Now, from class, only 4 went to examination. Now, if we have such a map, then we can evaluate and say, if at all receptionists have 20 persons, and those 20 persons, 7 of them, they get lost between reception and admission, then there must be a problem with the admission. Now, if admission, they worked on 13, and they referred those 13 to accounts, and from that, there are at least 10, only 10 went to accounts to make payments, then it means there's also a problem there. Then from the 10 who paid, only 8 went to collect timetable. That means there's somebody who came, assuming there was a queue, he queued at reception to get information on a form. After that, he filled the form, he went and queued at admission to get admission number. After that, he went and queued at accounts and paid money. Then he could not wait or he could not queue again to get the timetable, or he could not wait to get the timetable. Then there's also a problem there. Then for those who waited and got the timetable, again, some of them did not go to class. So again, there's raising a problem that even those who went to class, then not all of them went to do examination. So there's also a problem there. So once you have mapped here, then we can try to inquire. Probably if the receptionist collected all the phone numbers for those who had come to make inquiries, we can call them to find out. You came to make an inquiry, but you have not joined the class. What could be the problem? So in that case, we are able to tell if at all the admission is the problem. That because we lost a number of them, about 7 of them, they did not turn from a reception. Now, again, for those who have been admitted and they did not make payment, we can also make follow-up and see why didn't they make follow-up. They could have waited, probably they were not given good information, so they made a different decision to move out. You get it? So once you have mapped all this, then you are able to evaluate and see who amongst these employees is performing and who is letting down the other. Remember, it's a cycle. As we start from reception, it goes to class, exam, and we go back. The same cycle goes on and on. Because if we now start looking at those who will go for progression, from 4, probably 3 will come because 1 did not pass exam or for some reasons. But we also have to appreciate of natural happenings, that you intended to join the college, for some reasons your guardian has moved out of the city, so you can't still come, or you'll move to another branch. So there are those some natural attrition that we can allow, but there's also percentage that we shouldn't allow. So that's how we do service mapping, that in that case we are able to tell amongst those employees who is key promoter and who is not promoting the organization. Yes. Then number 7 is scorecard. With the scorecard, we look at it the same way we have looked at the key performance indicators, that we come up with the key areas that we can evaluate. That once you have achieved, you record here, I've achieved. At the end of the day, today, I record how many classes have I attended to. So tomorrow, if I have class, once I attend the class, I can also record there. I've attended this class. The total enrollment is 6 students, 5 have turned up, 1 did not turn up. The following day, I'll also attend to a class. Then I say this class has 20 students, 10 has turned up, 10 did not turn up. So that's what you'll first scorecard. And then we'll also, we keep on tracking and seeing that class that had 20 and only 10 turned up. Is there some signs of improvement, or is there signs of decline? Probably today they could be 10, tomorrow they will only come 8. So, and then, and because it's a scorecard, I can also try to get information. Why is the number or attendance not that impressive? Why about more than a half of them not attending? But if you have a class that has 6, 5 have attended, or had 7 and 5 have attended, only 2 have not attended. Yes, as much as we can also look at the reasons why they have not attended, but it's more or less natural that probably on that particular day, the other 2 did not have bundles, or on that particular day, there are activities that the others had to attend to. So that's why there's absence. Then we also have benchmarking, and benchmarking is basically we are doing the comparison of one company against the other. And I've given an example that because Safaricom is the dominant company in the country, so most companies will be comparing what are they doing, how are they treating their employees to record that high performance. So in that case, we are doing benchmarking when you do those comparisons. So as much as we have those in that information, how we can evaluate our human resources, but there are some of the things that make it difficult for us to use those particular parameters to evaluate our employees. And those things are what we want to discuss now. That within the organization, we want to do benchmarking, but there's something that will hinder us. Or we'll go out there to do benchmarking. Then once you have identified things that are being done at Safaricom, when we come, we cannot implement those things for some reasons. We have compared, let's say, Kim with the Strathmore. We have seen things that are being done at Strathmore. Then we want to implement those things. When we come to Kim, we fail to implement. There are other colleges that are admiring Kim. They come and benchmark how Kim is running its operations. Once they have learned, they go to the organization, they fail to implement that. So there are some of the things that will hinder us or will make it difficult for us to implement such activities. So that's what we want to look at. So one, there's weak or poor organizational leadership. So organization leadership is referred as weak if they are not able to make some decisions, or if it takes them too long to make some of the decisions. An employee has a challenge. As this employee has a challenge, the other members of the organization don't. Okay, the other the management have to make a decision, but now management are applying wait and see attitude. That I have a problem to attend class. Let's say I don't have bundles to be able to attend class. So I have shared with the management. I don't have bundles to attend class. Now, instead of management ensuring that they support me in getting those bundles or making that decision, how I can get the bundles, how I can get facilitated, or even promising that you can borrow, will reimburse by this time. So management keep mum. They don't communicate back. So if they don't communicate back, then it means a class time will get and I cannot be able to log in. So you as learners will also join the class and you can't see the student, the lecturer, then you get frustrated. So eventually we lose out on that particular platform. Number two, poorly defined business strategy. That sometimes organizations don't have good business strategy, or they have not defined their business strategy. So because they have not defined those business strategy, then it makes it difficult for us to achieve them. So if we define our strategy, or if we don't have a proper business strategy, then you'll find everybody who is coming up with his objective. For instance, if Kim has not defined its strategy and say, for lecturers, let them just work on classes and all that. So you'll find that I'm supposed to be in class here. Someone is giving me assignment in office. Someone is giving me assignment in the field. So I have to choose. Do I go to class? Do I go to attend to that assignment in office, or do I go out to marketing? Because we don't have clear strategy. But if we have a clear strategy, then it mean once all of us will know lecturers at this time they should be in class, so no one can give us assignment that will make us not attend to class at that particular point. Then number three, we have failure to recognize human capital as a source of competitive advantage. That there are organizations that have very good employees, but they have not recognized, they don't recognize those employees. We have organizations that have very productive employees, but they are not taken into account. Remember, I gave you an example sometimes back of a supermarket that was intending to hire shop attendants, and as they were waiting to hire, they advertised, and even they advertised for that and got application, and they had advertised the salaries. Some of the employees who applied, some of the prospective employees who applied had the level of masters, others Bachelor of Commerce. And on the advertisement, they were only interested with the people who had done Form 4 and had a C-. So you'll find that once we get these employees to the organization, some of the organization take those employees for granted. That we have taken that person, yeah, okay, that person has only accepted to work for us because there's no employment and he has to pay rent, he has to pay expenses, he has to pay his bills, he has to do or other things. So he's accepting that offer. However much you are not paying that much, he has accepted that particular offer. But now, as an organization, we should also take advantage of that and recognize that particular person and make it as a competitive advantage to us. That we can also include him as much as he has joined as a shop attendant, but he qualified to become a manager. So can we also allow him to attend a management meeting? Can we allow him to give us contributions? Because he has valuable contribution that can assist us achieve our objectives in the business. So if we give such an employee that advantage, if we allow him or we recognize that, then we are likely to have a competitive advantage. But if we don't, we treat him like a failure just because he has masters and he doesn't have work. We even give authority to those who have C- because we know at some point he will leave us, he'll get better employed and leave us. Then in that case, we fail to utilize that capital. We make him, when we humiliate him that he has a master's and he's working, he's taking a role of the person who has just Form 4. In that case, we don't utilize him fully. So in that way, we fail as an organization. Number 4, little forward thinking, forward planning. That at times, as organization, we don't plan for future. We don't plan what we want to achieve in next 2 years or 3 years. We don't plan what we want to achieve. So since we don't plan, then we get frustrated along the way. In that we didn't plan what we want to achieve, let's say, next 2 years. So as Kenya Institute of Management, we can say in next 2 years, we want to revamp the products. We want to introduce more courses to be trained. But now we don't make plan to get the lecturers who can train those other units. So when we bring in those other units, we start getting the lecturers who are not specialists in those areas. We make them to go and teach within those areas. Now, when we make them to go and teach in those areas, then we don't fully utilize those resources. Then we also fail in our part as an organization. So if at all we are planning for expansion, we are planning for introducing new courses, we should also put in plan getting the experts in those areas. So in that case, we are able to achieve our employee performance. Then number 5, people resource assumed to be unlimited, free, and fully trained. So those are 3 points. We'll discuss them as 3 points. 1, we are assuming that people resources are assumed to be unlimited. That today, Kim assumed that lecturers are always available. That even if I leave Kim, it's not bothered. They'll get a CV for the person who had applied and then replace me immediately. So if that person also leave, then they'll just go to the list of those who have applied. They check on the CVs and then call somebody and come and take over that particular position. Now, if at all we assume that's the way human resource is, then we are going to lose out as an organization. Because remember when I gave an introduction, I said that most employees who leave organizations are the key employees of the organization. Now, those key employees of the organization, as they leave, they go to the competition. Like if today I leave Kim and I'm one of the key employees, assuming I'm one of the key employees and I leave Kim, some of you will make phone calls. We have not seen you. I've come to Kim, we have not seen you. Then I tell you I'm in this area, come and see me at this particular place. So there are chances that once you come and see me at that particular place I would have gone, there are chances that you'll also make some consideration to move, to switch. So you look at the courses that are there, then you can identify a course that you can do within that particular institution. So in that case, we'll be reducing the number of clients. So if we leave an employee, we are also likely to leave clients to follow that particular employee, especially the clients that they had already created some bonds. Then number 2, when we also assume that people resources are free, that I can use you and not pay you. That today Kim can engage me, I train, they have collected fee from you, but they don't pay me salary. So at the end of the term, in case I complain, then they terminate my service, they get someone else to come and teach. Yes, as it goes, in that case, it's also weakening and also lowering the standard and all that other things come in. So if we assume that people resources are always free, then in that case, it hampers our ability to evaluate or our ability for employees to be productive. Then the other assumption that we do make that people resources are fully trained. That yes, I'm training you today, but I'm not training you specifically to go and offer service to a particular organization. So it means that if that organization hires your services, then it has an obligation to train you how to serve them. That organization has organization culture, that if at all they were to hire you, then they have to train you their organization culture. You could have done organization behavior, which you'll be trained about culture, but they'll train you culture in general, because every organization will have its own culture. So now if an organization assumes because you have a diploma in Kim, then you understand their culture, then they'll be wrong. So you get there and then you start finding yourself within making mistakes or on the wrong side of the coin. So all organizations should appreciate that human resources are not, one, they are not unlimited. Two, they are not free. Then they are not also fully trained. That I'm teaching here today at Kim. If I move from Kim and go to another college, I still need to be retrained how to teach in that particular college, because every college will have their own culture. So number 6, lack of sharing resources. That if we don't share our resources with the employees, then we make it difficult for them to perform. Then for that purpose, we always require that we share the resources that are necessary, that are required for the purpose of achieving a particular objective. So if we get our human resource, let's say we have hired you, we have given you an opportunity to serve, you have to go, let's say you are a marketer, you have to go for field every time and then, and we don't facilitate your travels. In that case, your performance will always be low. So we must share the resources so that you are able to exploit your capability. Then the last one, we have poor teamwork across the organization. That we have some organization that operate in a way that, okay, we have some organization that operate in a way that every employee is on his own or her own. That in event I have an activity, in event, let's say I'm carrying a wide load within the institution, and there's a colleague who see whatever I'm carrying is a heavy load, he can assist, he may not assist, he assume that's my role, that's me. So also when I see another colleague having a wide load, I may not offer some support or assistance. So in that case, if there's poor teamwork and there's poor within the organization, again, it also affects employee performance. Because as an organization, remember, we don't succeed because of one effort. We succeed because of the collective efforts. So if at all somebody offered me support and I also supported another person, we make work look lighter, and it also makes it easier for the whole organization to perform. So that's what we'll discuss for today. When we meet next week, we'll look at the human resource reputation. Any question before we adjourn the class?
Will you please share with us your notes?
Yes, I did. I believe I sent the notes on WhatsApp. Enoch, did you receive the notes we are discussing? I sent it directly to the group. Check on the group, there are notes that
Yes, I check. I
You
check
share
the note.
Okay. So check on the notes that are already with you. Any other question or concern? Any other question or concern? If there's none, I wish you a nice weekend. Let's meet next Saturday, God willing.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Hi, nice weekend.
Same to you.